Hi, y'all. Welcome to First Church. Thank you for worshiping with us online. If you're watching with us right now, please drop us a comment to let us know that you are here watching us live, what we're talking about. We'll be commenting back. If you're watching this later, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to watch our conversation. Hopefully it'll be a good one.
Great.
I am Anna Bundy Hagler. I'm one of the associate ministers here, and I am joined by another associate, Reverend Monica Frazier, over adult discipleship and congregational care.
That's right. That's right.
So we're so grateful that you're here, Monica. Let's talk about last week. Reverend Joe Stabile was in the sanctuary. He was preaching. Can you tell me a little bit about what stuck out to you from his sermon?
Right. So we're in this sort of 2-week series called We're All Gonna Die, which is a great thing when you're thinking about All Saints.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But Father Joe told this great story about a friend he knew who woke up 5 days later on the autopsy table.
What?
And he was supposed to be mentoring this man, and he said, how do you mentor a guy who spent 5 days with God? It's the craziest story. So if you missed it, go back and watch last week's sermon because it's a wild story.
It's on our YouTube channel. I was in modern worship for our friends and family service, and this is the first time hearing about it. So I will also be rewatching the sermon on YouTube.
Yeah, it's really crazy. And we don't know the rest of George's story. This man named George, he doesn't really tell the rest of George's story, but he
goes into how do you mentor someone who's already spent time with God.
Yeah. But he did have some really great thoughts about, all of this that we sort of build up in life can't go through the narrow gate, right? And so as we're thinking about the end of our life, it really distills down to what's most important, which I think is great. So
wow, that's so good. Yeah. Look at Joe crafting a sermon that's his job.
I know. He's done it a minute.
That's so good. Well, thank you for sharing. Just from a personal point of privilege, I would like to share in modern worship right now. We're having friends and family services just to invite folks to come in and give feedback about modern. And then we're going to have a special invitation for our community to come in and visit November 10th and 17th at 10:30 in the Wortley Peabody Theater. All right.
That's great.
I kind of want to switch to talk about you for a second.
Sure.
I am wondering, so Monica, you've lived in Dallas for how long?
So I went to college in Dallas, but we moved back here in 2014.
Okay.
Lolly and I thought this was going to be 2 years. My wife was going to Perkins, and we were going to move back to Austin
the minute
we could.
Yeah.
And we've been here 10 years.
Selfishly, I'm very glad you're here.
Yes.
In those 10 years, maybe specifically recently, what are your top 3 favorite Dallas restaurants to eat at right now?
Okay, so we are grandmas, and so we like Rise. We love to go have a souffle at Rise, which dates us to be, kind of with the blue-haired set, which is great. We love it. I took Lolly for her birthday to Beverly's, which is this little boutique restaurant on Fitzhugh.
Oh, yeah. Is it good?
Beautiful. Yeah, it's really good.
Oh, my gosh.
Good. The cocktails are amazing. The food was amazing.
I've heard that if you're an espresso martini person, I am. Right. I've heard they're very good there.
Yeah. So since Lolly has celiac and eats gluten-free, they brought us espresso shots for the dessert companion.
Yeah. Okay.
It's good. And then a third. So Kenny's Italian in Allen. If you're willing to drive a little, it's so good. And they can do everything gluten-free.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, everything.
I know that you can do a lot of substitutions there. So if you want some pasta and some veggies, they'll do veggies for you.
Or if you can't decide between 2 dishes, they'll do half and half of 2 different pasta dishes.
And it's so good. I can literally taste their chicken piccata is my favorite.
Yeah,
I can taste it as we're speaking.
That's good.
So just to recap, since we had some details, number 1 is
probably Kenny's number 1, then Rise, and then Beverly's has got to be on the list. It's really good.
Okay, that's pretty good. I'm going to throw in one of mine, and that's Mariano's off Skillman and Abrams, because you can't not talk about a classic Tex-Mex right here.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Home of the first frozen margarita.
Yeah.
Also.
So why wouldn't you go?
Right.
Okay. That's good. That's really good. I think now I kind of want to talk about your department. You see where I'm going? Sure. We're talking about you.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Your department.
Right.
Yeah, tell us.
So congregational care
is
such a great work here at First Church. The team that we have of lay folks helping provide care and just that extension of love from the church in lots of ways throughout our community is so powerful and wonderful. So actually later today, I'm going to spend some time with our visiting ministry volunteers,
Cool.
which will be great. And we'll have our quarterly lunch and kind of catch up on all of that.
Will you give us a brief sentence about what visiting ministry is?
Sure. So if someone is no longer able to come to church as regularly, we have lay folks who are trained and go out and make a monthly visit. Whether they're at CC Young or they're in their home or somewhere else that they're living, we have a person that makes a touch point with them once a month, and then they'll bring them a poinsettia at Christmas and a lily at Easter, and just kind of keep in touch and continue to be that bridge between the church and the person.
So when I was growing up, a visiting ministry like this was like essentially for like our oldest beloved members, right, that couldn't get out of their homes. But what I'm understanding is that really it could be for anybody who needs regular visiting.
Right, absolutely.
Like if you're a caretaker and you're like, my loved one could use someone else to visit with, like you would love for them to contact you.
Absolutely, right. And right now I'm actually at a situation because what we do is pair someone together until the person passes. So it's sort of for the rest of someone's life, that relationship. And so because we've had a number of folks move on to be in the communion of saints, we have a lot of volunteers right now. So I'm actually doubling them up to pair them with folks, which is great. And so they're really going out 2 by 2, which is really fun.
Biblical, you know.
Biblical, yeah. But so we actually do have a place where we have a lot more volunteers than we do people to visit right now. So as you know of people, please let me know.
Well, and I love this. Why would you say that this is an important piece of ministry for us?
I think what's so important for me is that these folks are not forgotten. They're not cut off. They're not isolated from our care and love. And they also still have so much to offer.
Wisdom, jokes.
Yes. The best stories.
And
a number of them are actually on our prayer team. So they actually, while they're being visited, they're also volunteering in their own way. We have people that are assigned to each day of the week to pray for the needs on our prayer list.
I love that so much because like not only is it like our call to go and make sure like visit the sick, care for the forgotten, that kind of thing. But really like people are, it's really a symbiotic relationship.
Totally.
Right?
Absolutely.
Like our community is outside of the 4 walls of this church.
Yes.
And that is sometimes in their homes and coming back kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And ministry happens outside the walls. Way more than inside the walls sometimes.
So you've been on this show before. You know, we ask a lot about mission.
Yeah.
How does this fit into our current mission statement?
So, I'm the one that keeps like shaking Roy up, talking about I love the magnify God's love bit.
Yeah.
Because for me, that's really what this ministry does is make God's love more visible, more present, more accessible, and it's sort of tangible.
Yeah.
Right? And that's a big piece of what we're doing.
Yeah, that's so funny. You weren't here, I chose for all people.
Yeah, sure.
Which it's so funny to throw Roy off because Roy's like main job is to throw us off.
Yeah.
But for all people, like I love the intergenerational nature of these relationships.
Right.
Like I know a couple who's like taking their kid to go visit their person to visit and care for.
Yeah.
And one of our oldest members was a person who was visited for a long time, and the rest of us were hearing stories about her life in the church and that kind of thing.
Right. On Saturday, we had an event at CC Young where we had DLC and First Kids invited to come and trick or treat with some of our members in this outdoor pavilion, and we've got our church members in their 80s handing out candy to little 2-year-olds. It's just that's life together, and I love it.
Oh, that's so sweet. Yeah. Okay, if people, I'm very impressed by this presentation I set you up for. If people are listening to this and they're like, I have someone who needs a visit.
Yes.
How does someone who needs a visit get to you?
So contact me. We'll drop my contact info in, and just contact me. Brianna Brown and Paula Hughes are the 2 coordinators of this ministry, and I'll get you in touch with them. Or if you know them directly, feel free to approach them directly.
Okay, great.
We'll get you plugged in.
Beautiful. And is that the same process for someone who hears this and is like, I want to visit someone?
Yeah, same.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we could use you. You can connect. You can magnify God's love. for all people by participating in our visiting ministry.
Absolutely.
All right. I know that there's one other place that you really need volunteers right now, and you mentioned it in prayer.
Sure. So we have Monday through Friday throughout the month, we have folks assigned, like you might be assigned the first Monday of the month.
Great. Those are my favorite Mondays.
Right.
Sorry.
It's the worst. Why did I pick the one worst day of the month? That's so hard to get out of bed and go through life. The first Monday of the month. Say that's your day.
Okay.
So we have a private website where we have the prayer list, and people can access the prayer list, and they pray through the needs of those folks on their assigned day. So I have a couple of gaps, a couple of Tuesdays, a couple of Wednesdays, and then we don't have any coverage on Saturdays and Sundays right now. So that's the other place that I'm really looking to expand. So if you are interested in just either at the beginning of the day, or even at the end of your day, somewhere in the course of your day, taking a few minutes to just pray for the needs on our prayer list, I could absolutely use more volunteers in that ministry.
Beautiful. And they'll contact you.
Contact me.
Great. So if you need anything congregational care wise, she's your gal.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Can we talk a little bit about today, this Sunday?
Sure. This Sunday is going to be a great day.
Yes. So today is All Saints Sunday. We have a really lovely gallery in the atrium. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But can you define what All Saints Day is?
Sure.
For those of us who might not know.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a day we set aside to remember the people who have passed, those who have died. And we will, in worship, celebrate, all the members of our church who've passed. Mm-hmm. It's been a long-standing tradition in the Christian church to recognize people that we believe to be in God's presence, and we remember them and honor them. So we're going to make sure that we take time to do that today.
Yeah. It's funny, somebody right before this texted me and was like, why does communion always fall on Saints Sunday? And I have an actual answer for that. But as a pastor, I love that so much, because every time we celebrate communion, we talk about the cloud of witnesses who have gone before us that we get to meet at the table, because it's this kind of present and future reality that we get to live in.
Yeah, heaven and earth's kind of touch.
How special is that? So to celebrate All Saints Sunday today, and to participate in communion today, and then to go a step further, and communion will be extended to those we were just talking about in our visited ministry. It's just this extra covering of God's love for us. It's just, it's lovely. Thank you.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
So we do have a gallery in the atrium today.
Right.
If you are here, you probably are watching this later, unless you're watching it in the atrium right now, and then you're also seeing the gallery.
It's right next to you, actually.
If you were here and you saw it, I'd love to know. Drop a comment to let us know what was especially meaningful for you. And then if you're online and you're watching this, you don't get to necessarily participate in our physical gallery, but I have included a picture of my grandfather and I. My grandfather, he did pass this year, but he was my favorite person, and so I'm thinking about him a lot today. We share the same birthday, and so he's just, he's real close to my heart today, but especially this year. And so I wanted to share that with y'all. Monica, you also have a picture.
Right. So my dad died in 91 when I was about to turn 15. And so it's a great time to have a major change in life when you're a 15-year-old. Yeah. But he was just really fun and funny, and was actually raised as a Methodist, which is kind of wild. And so my little Catholic world came full circle to that. Yeah. But he really shaped a lot of who I grew up to be. And so you always kind of wonder, what do they think of me now? What do they think of the path that my life has taken? But I really feel him very close in my life, and I just love being able to have this opportunity to kind of remember a picture of him and honor him on this day.
Yeah, thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
So if you're watching this and you're a part of our online community, even though you didn't get to participate in the physical gallery in our atrium, I'd love for you to send me an email. Send me a picture of your loved one, regardless of when they passed. Mine this year, yours when you were 15. Yeah. And we just want to celebrate that person's life with you. Their legacy of love lives on in you. And so I think this is a special day that we get to do that together. Yeah. All right. Man, this has been so good. Can you do this every week?
Absolutely.
I'm not allowed to do this every week. I have to alternate with Roy. So we'll talk about that later.
Sure. I told her, though, I said, I think we need Jen and Hoda mugs. We need to get a morning show set of mugs.
I love that. I'll work on that
brand
immediately.
us some mugs, please.
I will. And then I want to get into weird activities. Like, we can make a whole thing.
Okay, let's do it.
Thank you so much for watching. We're getting ready to worship together. Make sure you stay connected with us online. You can do it through emails, our website, our socials. And we want you to be sure that you're a part of what God is doing here. Let's go to worship together.